Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Welcome and thank you for stopping by. It's fantastic you are here. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on David Guetta, and through his song, The One I Love, I talked about the severely missing you part of grief. So if you're going through grief right now, I trust you found that one an encouragement and maybe a little bit of help. Well, this video kind of carries on a little bit today because one of the reasons grief is so hard to deal with is because you cannot turn love off. Physical presence may have gone, but other presences are still around. And this leads me on to the guy today. He was born in 1967 in Paris, France. Now, this guy is a record producer, a DJ, a songwriter, a remixer, an extensive collaborator with other people. And when you start getting into remixing and production, you've got to know your stuff. You've got to know how technically things work. And this guy certainly has that ability about him. Because between 2002 and 2018, he's released 7 studio albums, 11 compilation albums, 42 videos, 3 EPs, 85 singles, and there's 11 promotional singles in there as well. It's estimated this guy has sold 50 million albums and there have been 10 billion streams. 10 billion streams. So this is the guy we're talking about today. Who are we talking about? David Guetta. Now, normally when you hear about David Guetta, you hear David Guetta featuring someone or other. And this is certainly, with 2 of the songs I've got today, this is where we're headed. Now, David Guetta has won many awards. He's won an American Music Award, a Billboard Music Award, a DJ Award, a Grammy Award, and we'll get onto the song that he won that for in a minute. Hungarian music, Middle Eastern music, international dance music, MTV Europe Music Awards, MVPA Awards, NRJ Awards, Teen Choice Awards. It just goes to show that he's loved amongst the fans, and WDM Radio. Now, David Guetta is also a producer, and I don't know if you can remember a little song a while back by the Black Eyed Peas called I Got a Feeling Tonight's Going to Be a Good Night. Well, that was a David Guetta song. And, well, he produced that song. It just goes to show, because when that song came out, that was absolutely massive. And as well as just all of this technical brilliance and almost genius that David Guetta is, he also is very effervescent and very energetic, and he just has this way about him. And you'll see in a couple of live clips in a minute just how people get carried away when you hear his opening riffs. Now, of course, his opening riffs are very recognisable, particularly the 2 songs today, and we'll get on to them in a minute. David Guetta today. Now, when I think of David Guetta, I think of, well, there's 2 songs really. There's When Love Takes Over, that's the one that featured Kelly Rowland, and another song, Without You, and that featured Usher. I thought where I'd go today would be When Love Takes Over. Now, as I said before, this carries on a little bit from the David Guetta video, because it talks about the fact that we cannot turn love off. It's an interesting question for you though. When does love start? And when does love take over? Now, I've shared many times before in this series that love is a powerful and very potent force in the world. And you know, it really is bigger than us as human beings, because it just take us over, that is for sure. Now, when I'm talking about love, I'm not talking about the erotic stuff that happens, the one night stand. I'm talking about deep, committed love here, just to get that clear. So, when does love start? Well, I don't know. I was thinking about this myself, and obviously this is just my thoughts anyway. They may not be right, but they might just, you never know. you know, you meet someone, you ask them out for a date, and that goes really well. You know, there's some beautiful smiles at each other, and there's a nice dinner, and perhaps all of that sort of stuff, and then maybe there's a first kiss, and you think, oh, okay, well, has love started yet? Well, it's an interesting question. I think love begins when something changes within you. Now, we're getting into stuff that's very hard to describe today, but like there's a feeling of warmth, a glowing feeling inside you that when you see the other person, just lights up your world. In fact, it gets to the point when you can't imagine that person not in your world, and you're just hanging out to see them time after time after time. Well, I would argue at that point, when we've got to this point where it becomes a bit, you know, it's well and truly in there by now, love has taken over. Because, you know, as we know, love takes two. And for the other person who you might like, the same thing might be happening to them. And you start to feel a bit of an ease and a comfort around each other. You start to feel a bit of a companionship with each other, a bit of a friendship, and all the rest of it. The argument is then love has taken over. The guards have come down. You've said, yeah, okay, we're going to get into this thing and we're going to do this thing. Love has taken over. And you know, before we might even say the words, I love you, and the other person says, oh yeah, well, yeah, I love you too, actually. It's a realization perhaps that love is already there. And love has taken you over, love has taken the other person over, and now you have this new love which requires both of you to be part of it. It's unique, and it's just for the two of you, and there's no other love in the world quite like it. Forget the movies, forget all the stuff that happens, your love is unique to you. There's no formula to this stuff, and I think one of the beautiful things about love is the mystery of it. As now we can spend years uncovering the mysteries of love, because love is a mystery. No one really understands it, really. We think we do, but I think if we try to understand it, we're missing the point a little bit, because love just captivates and compels us. It will compel us as parents if our children get in trouble, to bail them out. It will compel us to gradually let them go, because we know that our role as parents is to let them go so they can become their own people and to find their own love. Love gets us to do all sorts of amazing and interesting things. And certainly in committed relationships, one of the ultimate acts of love is those intimate times that you share with each other, where the world kind of disappears. And you know, you can just be in your own universe, for the lack of a better word. So when love takes over, whoa, as Kelly Rowland sings, it's taken over. So if you're in this situation right now where you've just met someone and you're thinking, yeah, this person's kind of all right. In fact, kind of can't wait to see them again, and you know, what are we going to do next time? And it's all very exciting. Love is so exciting when it's new, right? It really, really is. What are we going to do next time? What can I surprise them with? Should I buy them flowers or chocolates or whatever it is? Should I just surprise them at work? Leave a little note somewhere. Those little, I say, gestures of love means that love has taken over, because all of a sudden, you're not the only person in your world. There's another person in your world that you want the best for when love takes over. One of the interesting things about love, though, is another thing that love kind of needs are relationships. Relationships are when two people get together and they try and work each other out and all the rest of it, and try to get this thing called love. It can be interesting at times. I believe love is constant. It is always patient and kind and all the rest of it. Relationships, on the other hand, can be a bit of a challenge at times. And so you think, well, if we can keep love as a goal, that will surely help us. So if you're in a new love right now, you'll know exactly what I mean. I love you. Being able to hear those words for the first time is a pretty exciting thing to be able to hear. To be able to say it to someone else means that something is welled up inside you and taking you over at that point. So I trust that will all be an encouragement for you today. Love is love is love. That is for sure. Well, on to the clips. Now, I haven't mentioned the two songs that we're going to look at today, and I have a live version and an official version for both of these songs today, because from my way of thinking, when both of these songs came out, they were absolutely massive, very distinctive in the world, particularly with the way they start, both Without You and When Love Takes Over. The way they start, you know exactly where the song is when you hear both of those songs starts. There's something quite... I get a feeling of expectancy, a feeling of, wow, what's going to happen here? This sounds really exciting when I hear both of these songs start. And I think, wow, what incredible production and thought that's gone into these songs. So we'll start with When Love Takes Over. This came off the One Love album of 2009, and this is the song that won David Guetta the Grammy Award. So very significant in the world of music, this song. And who better to sing it than ex-Destiny's Child, Kelly Rowland, and she absolutely nails this performance. This is a live performance, and yes, there are dances and all the rest of it, because you just need to catch the vibrancy and the activity that this song is. And see David Guetta at the back there, he's just really jumping around and having an absolute ball. So we've got the live version of that one. We've also got the official version of this one as well. There's something quite compelling and organic about how this clip gradually builds and builds and builds as things gradually start happening down at the beach. So that one's there for you. We've also got then Without You by, again, this one featured Usher. Now, again, the way this one starts is pretty compelling. And Usher's voice is just the perfect voice for this song. This came off the Nothing But the Beat album from 2011. Now, also here we've got a live version. Now, this is just David Guetta, but you can see how big the crowd is here, how elaborate the stage is, how groovy the lights are. When you go to a David Guetta concert, it's a David Guetta experience. Because at the end of the day, he is standing behind his DJ stuff. He can't do too much. And so therefore, you've got to be able to give your crowd an immersive experience by immersing them into the music. And that's certainly David's hype whenever he performs. And we've also got the official clip. It's good to see Usher here singing this song so well. So the links to those 4 clips are in the description below. And so that's where you see them. So if you feel like clicking on all of them or some of them, whatever you'd like to do, that's totally up to you. But yeah, check out the genius that is David Guetta. Well, that's it for today. If you've come back for another video, fantastic. Or if this is your first time, the Life Reflections Through Music, welcome to the channel, and thank you everybody for hanging around to the end. It's always great when you guys do that. Well, that's it for today, and seeing we've looked at Kelly Rowland, I'm going to go on to one of the other Destiny Child girls next time, and that's Beyonce. So until next time, I'll catch you around.